Onda Magazine presenta.
Hello everyone, this is Monica Cusa with Que Onda Magazine, and today we have a very exclusive interview with BARC's director, Mr. Jared Mears. Mr. Mears, it's a great honor and pleasure for us to be here with you today. Thank you for accepting this interview and for your time as well. How are you today?
I'm doing great, and I appreciate you all reaching out to BARC and to me to do this interview. Any kind of exposure we can get and bring awareness to the animal situation in Houston,
Definitely.
I'm perfectly okay with that.
That's awesome, and that's what we really want to do, like give all the information that you want to give to the community, especially the Hispanic community, and see how we can collaborate, with each other. So let's talk a little bit about yourself. Tell us what inspired you to pursue a career in the animal welfare, and how did you get started in it?
So I actually grew up in Africa a portion of my life.
Okay.
I moved there when I was, I believe 10, and I came back when I was 18, and I just found myself gravitating towards animals, right? There was a lot of wildlife around, and I had a lot of time on my hands, so I spent, I would get on my bicycle and ride off in the bush and go watch the elephants and things like that.
Wow,
So
elephants, that's so cool.
or herds of zebras.
Wow.
And it was kind of there that it kind of got in me that I was going to do something with animals.
Okay.
I didn't know quite what. And by the time I moved back to the United States, I actually grew up with horses and, dogs and cats and things like that. I've always gravitated towards equine animals, so I decided to become a farrier, which is a horseshoer.
Okay.
And so I started making a living as a farrier, and during that time I injured my back. And a friend of mine was working for Montgomery County Animal Control, and he was graduating college. So he contacted me and he was like, "Hey, this job is awesome. This is going to fit you. I can probably get you on."
Okay.
So I was like, absolutely, I would love the opportunity. So I got an interview, and one thing led to another, and I started my career as an animal control officer. And it was there that I realized, like, hey, this is where I can make a difference. This is where I can help animals and I can help people, because I also have a passion for people.
Okay.
So once I got into that, I just never looked back, right? I worked my way up. I was a supervisor at Montgomery County Animal Control, and an opportunity opened up for me here in Houston, and I migrated to Houston, and I came here as an animal control supervisor, and I just sort of worked my way up through the ranks.
Got it.
And here I am today.
Director of BARC.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Congratulations. Thank you. And it's so inspiring that you're doing service not only for the animals but for people, and you're doing what is really passionate for you.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's very rare that somebody can find their dream job and do something that makes them truly happy. It's never been about the money. Nobody in animal welfare is getting rich, I can assure you.
Okay.
If you look at the salaries across the board, across the nation, in my opinion, the jobs that everyone is doing in animal welfare is severely underpaid. But we do it for the animals, and it's a passion.
It's a passion.
And you have to be called. It's like being a teacher. It's a job that you have to be called to do.
Exactly.
So
let's talk a little bit about what do you think are the biggest challenges animal shelters are facing today, and how are you planning on overcoming those challenges?
There's so many challenges, I don't even know where to start. But
the main ones.
I would say that if I could wave a magic wand and get something tomorrow, right, it would be a large-scale community outreach team. There are so many people in the city and nationwide that are so ignorant, and I use the word ignorant as they just don't know any better.
That's the word.
get them educated on proper pet ownership and proper pet care and what needs to be done in order for you to be a good owner, which will in turn reduce the amount of animals that are coming into our shelters. You know, we shouldn't have 100 animals coming in here a day.
A day?
A day.
100?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Oh, wow.
Yes, ma'am. I believe yesterday was 90, or no, sorry, the day before was 88. We had a 98 animal intake, so it kind of averages out about that. I mean, this is the year 2024. This is the time where we should start really making the changes and going after the communities and educating them.
Okay.
The city has never done anything meaningful when it comes to education, except for like piecemeals, you know, like, oh, we'll go out here for the weekend and do this, and then we got to go over. It's so large, it's very difficult to stay in those communities and keep saturating with information and resources, right? So there's a lot of resource issues. But like I said, if I could wave a magic wand tomorrow, it would be to get a very large and robust education team, followed by more animal control officers, because BARC is very underfunded. You know, we're one of the lowest per capita funded shelters in Texas. You know, for example, our budget is $15.7 million. The closest city that I can kind of compare us to would be like San Antonio. Their budget is $28 million. So there's a huge disparity, and we have more people than San Antonio here. So my goal is to get BARC's budget up, so that we can start doing the things necessary to prevent animals from coming into the shelters, right?
Right.
But it does take money, and it does take personnel.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
So what would you say are some of the most effective ways to increase pet adoption to, you know, try to help with the amount of dogs that you get daily here?
So I believe that BARC needs to be accessible to the public. Right now, we're open, you know, we're open on the weekends, but during the weekdays, you know, we close at 5:30, and people are still at work at 5:30, right?
Or driving, stuck in traffic.
Yes, so I did make a request to the mayor's office that we could stay open and pay our employees overtime on Wednesdays and Thursdays, because those are kind of high traffic days.
Right.
Until 7 o'clock. And we have seen an uptick in adoptions. You can look at our data and see it's not a huge jump, but it is. And once people start finding out about it, the more people will come.
Because they don't know yet.
They don't
Not
know.
everybody knows yet.
Exactly. So I'm looking to make BARC more accessible, and even going further than just those 2 days. Eventually, I would like to secure the funding to be open, you know, 5 days a week.
5 days
like
a week.
that. Yes. And not only that, it gives people an opportunity, say, you know, your dog busted out of your fence, right? And somebody called, they didn't know it was your dog. BARC showed up, we picked the dog up and brought it here.
Okay.
A lot of citizens don't have the luxury to leave work and come here during the day. They have to be at work. They may not get vacation time, or, you know. So making it accessible for them to get their animal, because we don't want to keep people's animals here. That's the last thing we want to do.
Of course.
As soon as we can get it out of here, the better.
Right.
So it's very important to me to focus on making BARC accessible, and not only BARC, but getting the word out for other shelters to also be able to stay open. And it's a funding issue. It always comes down to money.
Yeah, so you're working hard on all those things.
Absolutely. But we are seeing success on the 2 days.
That's awesome, and it looks and it seems that you have the passion, and I think you're gonna make all of that happen, for sure.
Thank you.
For sure. So what would you think BARC will ensure a safe environment, safe and healthy environment for the pets under its care? You know, again, saying that you get so many pets daily on a daily basis, how BARC ensures their safety and healthy
So
environment.
we have a lot of written protocols already in place. And I will say this, since I've been here at BARC, I've been here almost 15 years. Our written protocols are some of the best in the country, in my opinion.
Okay.
Our big focus is humane, compassionate care, right? It's for the animal. So everything we do is for the comfort of the animal, to help reduce fear, stress, and anxiety. It's a very difficult thing to do in this environment because you're bringing in animals from all walks of life. Some of them have never had a hand on them or a leash or whatever. So it is challenging to deal with, but everything is geared around fear-free animal handling, right? We don't want to stress the animal, and our employees do a phenomenal job, especially in the environment, because we have, male dogs housed in the same room next to a female who may be in heat, which can exacerbate behavior problems, right?
Sure.
But our staff, their animal handling techniques and skills are second to none.
That's awesome. So I imagine that whenever someone is hired, some of the staff member is hired, they need to go through like
absolutely
evaluation,
classroom training. They go through classroom training, but a lot of it is on the job, right? You can sit in the classroom all day long and listen, but until you actually start being hands-on, that's where you're really going to learn the techniques that you've been taught.
Exactly.
And we pair our new hires up with senior members of BARC, and they train them and get them going.
That's awesome. I would love to work here. I'm passionate about animals. I love animals. I mean, I grew up with horses too.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Country, little, city in Puerto Rico, as I was telling you before. So I'm very passionate about animals too.
I still have horses today.
You still have?
Oh yes, yeah, I do.
They're beautiful. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
So how BARC engages with the community? I know you were telling me a little bit about it, but are there any programs that you're planning, to implement to get more the word out there to the community about what BARCs need from the community? So
we do have a robust outreach team. For the money that we get, they do a phenomenal job with our social media, communication to off-site adoption events, microchipping events. We are in the community as much as possible, as much as funding will allow. But they do an amazing job establishing events with, like, say, council members in their district. Our council members, our city council members, are very, very good about wanting to hold pet related events in their communities. And to be honest with you, it's a new thing. Within the last couple of years, we finally have elected officials that are realizing that, hey, this is a problem and this is affecting my community. So I'm very thankful to see, and they are providing, we call them CDSF funds, that are provided to each council member to spend on their district for specific things. So, for example, we would hold a spay and neuter event or a microchipping event.
That one is very important.
Oh, it is so important. Spaying and neutering your pets is paramount to us getting control of this problem. And there's cultural barriers that you have to deal with. There's a lot of people who don't believe that their animal should be fixed. It's a very strange phenomenon because, a lot of people will tie it to, say, their masculinity, right? Like, my dog is a representative of me, and that's so silly. It's such a silly concept, and I like to consider myself a masculine individual, but all of my pets are fixed. It makes them such a better pet. They don't run away. They're better behaved.
Oh yeah, they get way more calm and mellow.
There are
for
certain
sure.
health benefits to it. Certain cancers don't develop because they are fixed.
Oh, I didn't know that.
mm-hmm.
Good to know.
Right. And it doesn't change the personality of the dog. It just makes it a better animal, a better
Exactly.
family pet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing with my dog. I fixed him when he was like 3 months, maybe, something like that. And he's a male. And of course, I don't know if it has to do with the fixing, but he when he goes to pee to the bathroom, he doesn't raise his legs.
Yeah.
He squats.
And he doesn't want to mark things anymore.
No,
Yeah.
no.
So it kind of removes that territorial
No,
instinct.
here and there he'll try to mark, but it's like twice a week or something like that. It's so funny. So that has to do with fixing, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I mean, I can't say it enough. It makes your pet a better family member.
For sure.
One that you will want to keep in the house, one that's not exhibiting behaviors of, not being fixed. It's not their fault, We
Right.
we domesticated them.
Exactly.
So it's our job to ensure that they get the care that they need and to be a good member of society, right? And spaying and neutering your pets is
Very important.
one of those things.
Yes. So let's talk about volunteers. What are your thoughts about the role of volunteers in shelters, animal shelters, and how are you planning on getting more volunteers to help out?
So our volunteer program at BARC is actually the largest volunteer program in the city of Houston. We have more volunteers signed up with our organization than any other organization in the city.
That's amazing.
I'm very proud of it.
Yes.
Our outreach team does an excellent job with our volunteer programs. And quite frankly, we can't make it without our volunteers. Going back to being underfunded, right? Our volunteers pull a lot of slack for our employees, and they help them. Not only that, on social media, they're sharing our stuff. They're helping to educate the public. Volunteers are so crucial, and we need more. I would love to ask the community to come help BARC. If you want to make a difference, come help BARC, and perhaps it'll help bring you a better understanding of the situation.
Yeah.
You'll get a firsthand view of how the city operates and how animals are coming in, and it'll help you better educate your neighbor.
Correct.
On proper pet ownership.
Is there a minimum age for volunteers?
So children can come, but they have to be accompanied by a guardian, a parent.
Okay.
So 18 and up kind of allows you to have open access to do any of the activities that are listed on the volunteer page. But if you are below the age of 18, you would need to bring your parent.
So, for example, if I have a 16-year-old, if he would want to come volunteer here, I would have to come with him.
That's correct. You would. You would
Okay.
have to. And, there's safety measures in place. And, this has been vetted by our city legal department as to what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. So, yes, you would, as a guardian, you would need to accompany them.
And they will count as volunteer hours as well?
Sure.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. If you have a teen that's in school that needs to get some volunteer hours, come with them. Come volunteer yourself. You two can tag team, walk dogs, bathe dogs. We have, if you don't even really want to do that, we have laundry, mountains of laundry.
Laundry?
Laundry, yes. Sheets, towels, washcloths, dishes. We wash
that's true.
all of our dishes.
All the dishes.
So it's a good opportunity to give back to the community and to give back to these pets.
Please, kids watching, this is an opportunity to volunteer and get those volunteering hours that you need, that I know you need for high school and upcoming college. So let's talk a little bit about what are some of the most important qualities that you think are necessary for success as an animal shelter director, and how do you embody these qualities? Well, I know you embody all those qualities, but let's hear from you.
So I think experience is a prerequisite to being a good director. You have to know what you're dealing with and how to deal with it. There's a lot of complex situations that happen. You know, if I had 2 hours to explain to you all of the things that go on, that would be great. But just summing it up, experience. I've been here in this, and I hate to even call it a business or industry, but I've been here at BARC for almost 15 years. You know, so I have about 20 years of experience.
It's your home, your second home.
It is, and it's my passion. And you have to be passionate about the job. It's not a job that, you know, somebody can just be looking online and be like, oh, I could do that.
Right.
You know, that would be very few and far between. You have to have the experience. You have to know what you're dealing with. And you have to have some direction and a goal. And I believe that I have all of those things for BARC. You know, if it weren't for money, you know, we would be full steam ahead. But I'm still chipping away and going forward and trying to secure funding. We're working on building a new shelter here at BARC.
Okay.
So we did get a bond approved. The public voted on it, and so within the next, you know, hopefully 2 years, we're going to have an entirely new facility here at BARC.
Wow, that's awesome.
And that's just one of many projects that we're working on.
Okay, that's amazing. I mean, you have those qualities and even more. I mean, it's been a great pleasure for me to have this interview with you, and I know you are gonna do the best and beyond of what you can do for this facility for BARC, for the animals. And I'm gonna say I'm very proud of you and honored to be here with you. Do you have any final words for Que Onda Magazine and the Hispanic community?
I think I can go back and sum up what we've talked about. Please spay and neuter your pets, please. If you do that, you're going to keep animals out of our shelter, out of all the Houston area local shelters. Volunteer, please come help us. We have so many animals here at BARC and that need help. You know, those are the two things that I'm begging the community to do. Please spay and neuter, and please come volunteer. Educate your neighbors. You know, those are the things that we need in order to make this situation, get this situation under control.
Right. And I forgot to ask you real quick, what would be the process if someone wants to come and adopt a pet? Is it like a hard process, or is it pretty easy?
It is very easy.
Okay.
You can come to BARC. We have a huge selection of animals. There's something for everyone. Dogs, cats, males, females, black ones, brown ones, white ones, big ones, small ones. And all of our animals are online. So if you want to jump on our website, you can look through our animals. And if you see one that you like, write down the animal ID number. And then when you come to BARC, you'll have a specific direction that we can direct you as to where that animal is. And go look at it. And once you look at it, and you know, you can contact one of our animal care technicians that'll be there in the area and say, hey, I'm interested in seeing this dog outside of the kennel. Okay. So then we can get the dog out and let you spend some time and interact with the animal.
That's very important.
To make sure that it's a good fit for you.
Yes.
So the process is very, very easy. We have an application that you must fill out that asks certain pinpointed questions. You know, if you plan on coming to get a dog for a guard dog, this is not the place. We're looking to place animals in homes to become part of the family. Okay. You know, so this is definitely not the place for that. Okay. If you plan on putting your animal on a chain, which is illegal, by the way, the state of Texas passed a law.
It's illegal.
It is. You cannot use a chain. You have to use a cable tie at minimum. Okay. Or a trolley system with a cable. Oh. So you're not allowed to chain your dog. So if you plan on just coming to get a dog to tie up in your yard, you know, this is not the place for it. Animals are family.
Are there any special requirements that the person coming here thinking on adopting are gonna have to bring, or any information that they need to come prepared with?
They need to have a valid ID, so you
Okay.
have to have a valid ID to adopt at BARC, or actually to even gain entrance to BARC, you need to have a valid ID.
Okay.
And I want to go back and touch on something that I didn't mention earlier.
go ahead.
It is mandatory in the city of Houston that all pets are microchipped. So you must have a microchip for your pet.
Oh, okay. I thought it was optional. Is that recent?
Within the last 2 years.
Okay.
So you do have to have a microchip. There's a lot of low-cost options. BARC, if you look on our website, you can see that we have microchip events. Sometimes we have them here, but they're very cheap here.
Yeah.
Corey, if you'll correct me, I think it's $20 microchip. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's accessible. Yeah.
So, it's very easy, and this helps ensure if we pick your pet up and we scan it and it goes ding, yes.
Okay.
We can look it up in the system and say, oh, this dog belongs right here, and we're going to be calling you saying, hey, we just picked up your animal. Are you home? Can you meet me here? So that we get the pet back to your place. We don't want your pet to come to BARC.
Of course. Yeah.
So it's a quick trip home for your pet. It's very efficient, very affordable. So microchipping, please.
Well, thank you so much again for your time. Thank you for all that you do here at BARC. It's been a pleasure having this interview with you. And thank you, everyone. Until the next one.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for the exposure.
Que Onda Magazine presentó